Okay, here we go. Good morning. I'm Juicy Jones. This is Vaping Dawn to Dusk. And Luke's still on vacation. This right here, this is James Davis from Liquid Sky E-Liquids here to tell us his vaping story and be our guest today. Hey, James.
Hey, how's it going?
It is so great to have you. Um, how's everything going? How are you? Like your video and everything looks fine.
Oh yeah, it's been busy. I've
That's
been
yeah,
working my butt off, but
that's
other than
killer.
that, just
You are busy. I contact you all the time. We talk all the time on Facebook, y'all, and he's always running and doing something. So I'm going to say good morning to everybody who's in chat before we get too far into this. And we got JD, Jay, Rotten Thomas, Ryan Berman, Sean Taft is here, and Michaela. Everybody, thank you guys. Good morning. Good morning to everybody. Um, I guess super quick update from Orbital Vaping headquarters here. We're still steaming here. We got Vape AM on Tuesday and Thursday next week, Coffee and Clouds on Wednesday, Cloud the Fuck Out Thursday, and then another Vaping Dawn to Dusk next Saturday. And right now, I got like 4 full lines of e-liquid in the mail this week. So right now, I'm vaping on a cinnamon bun from Vango Vapes out of Vancouver, and it's pretty amazing. I've got the TFE8 right here. What are you vaping on, James? We're going to talk to James now.
uh, I've got my new fluffer.
Oh
Michaela was
yeah.
asking earlier. It's more marshmallow and sweet than anything I do. It's probably the sweetest thing I've ever done. Like we were talking earlier, I'm trying to, experiment with different things that I'm not exactly comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but just a Able and a Goon and my fluffer.
Killer. You're a Goon fan too, eh? Mm.
Yeah, I just got it like a couple weeks ago,
I love my
and
Goon.
I love it.
Oh my God, I wonder if I told everybody. This is a good chance. You're not going to be able to see this, but the viewers can. Here, I'll just show this off. Here is the mod I'm giving away for the 1 year anniversary here in a few weeks. I'll do an announcement here sometime really soon. And the mod comes from Nuve Mods. Lewis
Mm.
over there made this for me. It's absolutely gorgeous with my custom logo on it and my hashtag. And um, um, right here is a beautiful stainless steel goon that was donated to the giveaway by Andy Budd. And I just am so incredibly stoked about that. And so,
So it's
and
gonna be rigged and come to me, right?
yeah, so Vapor and Company donated this incredible goon. And if you get a goon for yourself, go to vaporandco.com and get it. Thank you, Andy. And Lewis, if you need a mod, I'm not kidding. This one looks so much better than mine. And mine
Right.
looks amazing, and this one looks super amazing. And I designed this logo on the back. It says 1 year on YouTube, Orbital Vaping Headquarters 2015 to 2016, OVHQ.TV anniversary. Um, I'm so excited. So anyway, there's my super. I would squeal, but I think somebody's ears would pop off if I did that. Um,
Yeah.
so before we get too far into all the stories and stuff, because we're having a great chat before the show, and I want to revisit some of that stuff. But before we do that, I want you to tell, if you don't mind, tell everybody your vaping story. Tell everybody the story of how long you smoked, how you quit, how hard it
Um,
was for you, or easy.
you, I've never really sat and thought about it. Like I
Hmm.
watch vaping stories on YouTube and stuff, but I've never like thought about it for myself.
When did you start
Um,
smoking?
Probably when I was 14.
Hmm.
I come from a small community, and man, when I was 14, I could walk up to the gas station and buy a pack of cigarettes, and you know, um, I quit a couple times while I was in the military, but I always went back.
Yeah.
And then a couple years ago, I was dating a girl, and she was on me constantly. Need to stop smoking, need to stop smoking, and I loved smoking. That was
Yeah.
um, my chill out time. Go outside, smoke cigarettes. Um, so anyway, things didn't work out, and finally there was this one day that I was like, I'm gonna stop.
She was
And
right
and I
about one
tried.
thing.
Yeah, I had tried vaping before with Lights, and
Oh yeah.
they were so crappy. I mean, this
Hmm.
it just didn't cut it. And so I got me a little mod, an iJust 2, I think it was, and um, so I started vaping on that, and then I moved up to to Sigeli, um, and I got a dripper, and that's just, I don't know. That's how it all happened.
That's great. Did you when you when you realized that you had to quit smoking? Was it how long did it take you? Like, was it tough for you with that
Uh,
iJust? Did it take a long time, or was it pretty quick?
I I would say it probably took 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now I'm not gonna lie, I do smoke a cigarette every once in a while. You know,
Oh.
yeah, I know. Shame on me.
Well, it's okay. I mean, we don't judge. The
Right,
thing is, the whole
right.
lesson here is this is a good thing for people to realize out in the audience too. That if you're trying to quit smoking, you're not trying to never have another cigarette. You're trying to
Oh,
smoke as few as possible. Every cigarette you don't smoke is another one that's keeping you from being, another 7 minutes dead or
right,
whatever. So
right,
it's a good thing that you're smoking, if anything, one every once in a while. Of course, I wish that you would smoke none, but I mean,
right.
whatever, man.
Well, my daughter, she has like when she was younger, she had breathing problems, and
Hmm.
so I thought back to that, how unhealthy it was for her to be around it all the time. Um, and man, I can smell better, I can taste better.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm in my mid 30s. I'm not in super good shape, but I can do a lot more than what I used to do.
Yeah,
Um,
you just feel better, totally.
right, right.
And heck, how could you possibly make such good e-liquid if you couldn't smell? I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah.
really nice that the smell coming back. I really enjoy having, and now I can smell every disgusting smell. Like when I'm in the street vaping, sometimes I think about how people whine about vaping on the street, and then I like all the time we're walking around. I live in downtown Seattle. We're walking around, and I smell car exhaust and other people's cigarettes and stuff, and I'm like, oh
Right,
my god, vaping
right,
never smells this bad ever.
huh,
Unless people are locked in a fart box. You know.
right. No, it's I like the fact that um, you can walk into my house and it smells good. You know,
Yeah.
I don't have to clean my walls every other month, all the tar
Oh
and stuff.
yeah. People often ignore or downplay how much tar just gets onto
Oh
your
yeah.
stuff. You if you leave dishes on top of the cabinet and go back
Hmm.
2 years later and pull them down and smoke in the house all the time, they'll be coated in tar.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, there's tons of benefits to it.
So let me
The
just ask one question. How long ago was that you quit smoking and started vaping?
um, About 2 years ago now,
Okay,
pretty
good,
close to 2 years.
cool. I was gonna say because that sounds like a couple of years ago. I
Yeah,
think I
it
quit
was.
3 years ago and I was using the pens, and then I got a iTaste SVD that lasted me a long time. When I was a kid, I remember being in my dad's Malibu in the back seat with my brother and my dad and his wife up in the front with the windows all rolled up and it raining outside. And my brother and I going like, they were smoking. And we're like, can we roll the windows down? They're like, no. Like that happened all the time. Like that's how it was when I grew up.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was easy to get exposed to cigarette smoke as a kid, and it's
Right.
nice that you're not smoking around your kids. It's really great because they're not going to get
Well,
hooked on it.
yeah. I try to my company is named after my daughter. My daughter's name's Skylar.
Oh,
I
that's a
try
great
to
name.
Yeah, I try to involve her. I mean, to me, it's creating a better future for my daughter. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
absolutely.
Um, if I can keep going, you know, I can hand this to my daughter and say, hey, if you want it, this is for you. Daddy quit smoking for you. Daddy did this for you. You know, um,
That's really
and
touching.
she's a big part of what I do. You know, I don't. You see these companies that have obscene names and stuff like that, and I don't do that because of my daughter. She's involved in this, and I don't want her to be a part of it like that.
Yeah, well, I have a
Um,
big problem with that too. I see a lot of things that are just sort of like they forget that women spend half the money in this country and make half the decisions or
right,
more, and
right,
they treat it like somehow like women are some object. And I know that like there's a bunch of bros who love to criticize people who talk this way, but I just don't give a fuck. I think it's
right,
disrespectful. I think it's lame, and when I see people treat women that way, it makes me feel alienated and makes me like people less. And that's just my opinion. And I
right,
believe I'm a feminist. Full stop. Period. At the end of that sentence. And so
Right.
that makes me real weird. So I love that. And we hear time and time again that doing it for your kids and making sure that you stay alive, spend more time with them. And that's a very touching message. And that's the most important thing, is that this is all about quitting smoking and staying alive longer. That's what this is
Right.
about. This is not about images or a lot of people still think this is about weed, and I fight that all the time because I live in
Yeah.
Seattle. People assume that because I live in Seattle that this is about weed, and I just think you should be ashamed of yourself if you think that a grown man would dedicate his entire life just to weed on YouTube.
Right.
And if somebody did do that, then that's just a little bit deplorable in my opinion.
Right.
Because whatever. I mean, what am I saying? I don't judge. Anybody can do whatever they want
Right.
to, but I'm not doing
It's
that.
their choice.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not doing that. For me, it's about smoking and quitting smoking. It just comes real close to home. So many people have lung cancer. A close relative of ours had diagnosed with lung cancer recently, another one, and she's going through chemotherapy right now, and that's hard. And so, people just need to be focused on the fact that this is a health tool, and
Right.
we love the flavor of it, and we spent decades hooked to cigarettes, and we are entitled to not die and to
Right.
enjoy this and to have this available to people to help other people quit smoking.
But you know what? In 9 days, we're not allowed to do that no more.
Hmm.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We're not
as much.
allowed
Yeah.
right, right.
At all, really. Yeah.
You know, and that's terrible. You know,
It's
I mean,
yeah.
that's hard.
Well, there's a segue right there, as we should talk about what we haven't really talked about Liquid Sky too much, but it's if you guys don't know, James owns Liquid Sky e-liquids, which is delicious. There's his Instagram up there through which you can find him, and you've seen us do reviews and stuff for him, and I brought him on to tell us his vaping story and something about him so you can get to know him better, and so we can talk about some of this August 8th stuff that's going on. What kinds of preparations have you been doing to get ready for things, and how's this August 8th thing going to affect you exactly?
It's not gonna hurt me terribly. Um, okay, the hardest part, what I enjoy the most about what I do is being able to experiment. I like to spend months on flavors. I like
Yeah.
to, Dino Rocks took me, 4 to 6 months to do. Smacks was a work in progress. This
And we
fluffer
have a
was,
story about
you know,
Smacks later on, y'all. I'm going to have him tell you the story of Smacks, too. It's good.
oh yeah. Um, so, what it's doing for me is it's limiting my creativity. You know what I'm saying? I have to get as much on the market as I can before the 8th. And so you're going to see a bunch of flavors come out in the next, week, and they're going to go out of stock super fast, you know. And so I'm trying to build myself a buffer, of routes I can take, but
Because it's really perfunctory, right? As long as you hit the date with any product, you can pretty much
right.
reformulate, right?
Yeah, it's a gray area.
That's what I'm saying. Is that the whole law is
Yeah,
full of these things. Like I've
right.
been talking to e-liquid representatives, and like you're not going to be allowed to give me free e-liquid to review.
No,
So we're going to have to come up with this idiotic scheme where I pay you a penny a bottle or something. Isn't that
right,
isn't
right.
that just fucking stupid? But you
It's
know what, y'all?
ridiculous.
That's what we're going to do because we're not going to fucking stop helping
Right.
people. But this law is so insane. Good news is that the oral arguments date is set October 16th, I believe, to argue for this law. They just filed a motion to dismiss it summarily, but we know that won't happen. And and I read an entire chronology that from just last night, and it said October 16th is the date of the actual oral arguments where they go in and talk about this stuff. So the law is going to be in effect at a minimum for another 3 or 4 months. No,
Right.
no matter what. So what's going on, everybody in the audience, if I haven't explained this, is that all these manufacturers and vendors are jumping through all these hoops to satisfy these little not loopholes, but these little provisions of the law that require them to have registered their products on the market by August 8th. Because after that date, they can actually introduce new products after that. But if they do, they're automatically required to go through a giant expensive process that's impossible and
Right.
it costs millions. And if you get in before the 8th, there's a chance you can get into an easier process. But there's a number of things and details about this that are too complicated to explain now. But they really have just they've regulated vaping more than tobacco. and
Oh yeah.
it's bizarre. There's many
Yeah.
more provisions stuck onto vaping than there are tobacco. But there's, like I said, the lawsuit from Dimitri and those guys and the coalition is going through, and the oral arguments are October 16th. For now, what we all need to do is support these guys by spending money on their e-liquid and on their vape gear and on their stuff. You know, buy things from Vapor and Co. Order e-liquid from James. Do this stuff so these people have a way to keep alive for the next several months until these law things happen.
Right.
And get involved with Casaa, notblowingsmoke.org, and the other organizations that we link to everywhere, and do what they tell you to do, which is mainly call your congresspeople. If you really want to help,
Right.
just go to Google and type in who are my congressional reps. And everyone in America has three. You have two in the House and one in Congress. No, you have two in Congress and one in the House. Excuse me, I got that reversed. So once you know this is true of everybody almost in the U.S. You go in and you look up by state and it'll give you those names. You call their office, you tell them that you want them to support checking the FDA's regs. You want them to find out HR 2058. You want them to find out what's wrong with the FDA, and then they'll just keep a list. That's what they do. I thought that was kind of a ramble, but
Oh, you're all right.
yeah.
I send Casaa paperwork with every order that goes out my door.
Yeah,
On
I
the
meant to
back,
mention that
you know.
James was the first person. Now it's popular, but James was the first time I opened up an e-liquid order, and it had information about advocacy on it, and it was printed right on the back. He didn't even put a second
Right.
page in. He was like, "No, it's just on the back. You don't even know what side you're looking at.
Right.
Is this just
Right.
advocacy? Maybe." And so I appreciated that, and it was
I
important.
I have a lot of like I'm small time. I mean, I'm a
Hmm.
small fry in the big ocean, you know, and I like it that way. But I like to take customer comments, their ideas, and put those to work. And that was one of my customers had commented, and she's like, "Hey, why don't you, put advocacy, something to do with advocacy into your package?" And I was like, "Man, that's a great idea." And so I started doing that, you know. And I always try to keep a good relationship. I'd rather only have, it's okay to have 50 to 100 customers, you know, as long as we're working for each other. You know what I'm saying?
We're helping people quit smoking,
Right.
and not we, but you, and you are satisfying a demand, and it's
Right.
providing a living for you. See, that's the
Right.
thing. Is that not the American dream?
Oh yeah, it is. The
That's
next
what the
couple months
FDA
are
is killing.
scary. It's scary. This last week has been kind of a slow week for us. Um, so it's man, I like being my own boss.
Yeah.
Um, but as long as I can stick it out for the next couple months, you know, and I've got awesome customers. You know, um, like you were talking about Owen earlier.
Yeah,
You
isn't
know,
he great?
Owen's bought from me quite a few times,
He's so great.
and I know that he'll keep on coming back.
Until
You
you
know,
change
and I
smacks, which if
appreciate.
you do, we're not
Yeah,
friends anymore.
right. No, it's not going nowhere.
That
That
shit.
one's locked in place. But I'm telling you, you need to try Fluffer.
Well,
It
I'm sure I will.
it it's gonna it's way better than Smacks. I think personally.
You have until the 8th to put some in the mail, you know.
I get what you're saying. All right.
It's the
I'll
8th is
I'll
the day that the FDA will complain. I'll have to pay you a penny for that. Although, if I like
I'll
it, I'll buy it. That's the thing, too.
right.
People don't realize. All I get is these comments like, oh my God, you get all this free e-liquid. Yeah, I get tons of free e-liquid. But I buy
Oh
e-liquid that
yeah.
I like. And you can ask James. I order from
Oh
James.
yeah.
And I order from AZ Swag Sauce. And I order from other ones that I really like. And if I like your e-liquid, you'll know because I'll pay you my own money. And Smacks is so good. Oh, so that's what I was going to say is that Smacks is really good, and there's a million sugar cookies, and a lot of them are really, really good. But this is still my favorite one. And what's the story of Smacks? What is this?
Okay, so it started out with sugar cookie. Y'all know that most of my flavors are pretty on the light side. I like you to think about it. I like things to be subtle. Monkey bread has just a touch of peanut butter in it, and I'm talking like 2 drops of peanut butter per 30 ml bottle. Um, and Smacks was the same way. It was real subtle.
Writing
You
down your
know,
secret formula.
right?
Just
No,
kidding.
well, trust me,
Just
I didn't
kidding.
give nothing away there. Um, but so I had a customer that bought Smacks pretty religiously, and he's like, hey, is there something we can do with this? I can't taste this quite as well as I used to, and it was probably just a case of Vapor's Tongue or something like that. But I was like, sure, I'll bump it up a little bit, and that's what I did. And ever since then, it's pretty much that and Dino Rocks are my two main selling uh, juices,
Yeah.
and and
So
I like.
demanding
Oh yeah,
customers made that
I
juice that great.
I like it. I
I think
like
that
when
really,
somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, can you do this?" And I mean, it might take me a while. I've got a notebook over here that is full of notes, of things to try to do. I mean, I always take anybody's criticisms or comments, and I try to build on that. You can't please everybody, but I mean, I try to do my best to create a good relationship.
well, I think you do pretty well listening because I remember that when we reviewed your juices the first time, our only complaint really was like the bottles are hard to squeeze and the labels are
Right.
crinkly or something. And you're like, oh, really? And then and it wasn't even something that needed to be addressed. We were just saying, sometimes you just have to come up with some kind of con, and it wasn't a con; it was just a comment. But you
Right.
immediately were like, yeah, I don't like those either. Really, I'm gonna do something about that. Then over time,
And,
you're gonna.
right. It took me a while, but now I'm still doing my own labels. I mean, I'm a small fry, so I try to do. I want most of my money. I want at least 90%, if not more, of the money, the cost, to be in the juice itself. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And I make a,
Trying to be
I make
efficient.
that a, yeah, I make that a priority. Quality over quantity, and I want the quality to be in the liquid itself. And so,
That's
you
something I
know, late,
noticed about your juice is that your flavors are staple flavors so far, the ones we tried,
right,
but
right,
they were all very good. Like
right,
you can tell that they're not just like there's so much bad juice in the world that's just labeled with a flavor and has some ingredients in it that correspond to that, and they're just not well mixed. They're not well planned, and they don't taste
right.
correct. And yours do, I think.
Well, I mean, you're talking when I probably started doing this a year and a half ago or better. I mean, I didn't. Vaping premium juice got so expensive for me that I almost had to start mixing to stop smoking.
Is that what
You know,
happened? You reached the budget wall.
Pretty much.
Hmm.
I have a shop. Probably 2 or 3 miles away from the house, and I was spending. I love Mercury. You know,
Yeah.
and I'll tell other people, hey, go try Mercury. You know, but I was vaping so much, and I started dripping at that time, around that time, and it was costing me so much to vape. And I liked they had a smoked banana custard,
Oh, that
and
sounds good.
yeah, Smoky Monkey is kind of my play on what they were doing.
Which is
And
good.
right, it was costing so much, and I was the only one that was in there buying it, that particular flavor, and so the guy stopped stocking it. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna try to figure out how to do this for myself. you know. And then I had buddies buying it, and then I had people in the area that I didn't know trying to get a hold of me to buy it. And then I was like, well, let's just do this.
Yeah, you reminded me. That's right. Sometimes people stop stocking your favorite juice, and you're like, wait, or they'll just be out of
Right,
stock because everyone in your neighborhood likes it.
right.
You're like, oh
You know,
no.
I've got a couple things. I wanna work on Smoky Monkey. If you guys have been to the website in the last couple of days, you'll notice Smoky Monkey isn't on there.
Oh, I didn't
Um,
notice that.
it's gonna be played with a little bit. I want to bump the banana a little bit more.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Um,
I believe that was
Kendra,
one of my only notes on that thing
yeah,
is light
I've
banana.
had I've had a couple of customers come to me and was like, "We love it, but we'd like the banana to shine a little bit more." And so I'm gonna try to do that. Kendra is gonna go under the knife a little bit more. Um, I'm not super happy with the peanut butter in it, like I am with the peanut butter monkey bread. So I'm gonna try to do something similar to that. Um, so I mean, I've still got a lot of work to do. I just need everything set in stone by the 8th. You know,
Right. Right. Yeah. Oh, and Jay asked the question, are things before the 8th okay to sell freely and everything? And I was just going to point out that no, it's just that the process for becoming legal beginning in 2018. 2 years from
Right.
now is
Right.
cheaper if you get it in by
And
the 8th.
I'll be honest with you. The way things are set right now, you know, I'm I'm looking at it. It's a ticking time bomb for me. You know,
Right.
I'm a small fry and I won't be able to afford that. So I'm looking at 2 years best.
Yeah, how
You
can
know,
you possibly spend $1
right,
million per flavor per nicotine strength?
right. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, of course, you would just pick Smacks, and that would be the thing to do. You'd take Smacks,
I
and
don't know.
then,
I think maybe Fluffer. I might have a GoFund or
yeah,
something.
there you go.
You know.
I was going to say just Smacks in 1.5 milligram, and then people can do whatever they
Right,
want, or zero, I
right. Just
guess.
just nick it up if you want to, or
Well, I guess that would be the thing to do, right? So if they end up boning you, will you just sell concentrates? Is that what we're all going to end up doing in the United States, is buying zero? Or
I
no, you can't even buy
think
zero.
no, you can't buy zero. I think me and you've talked about that before. That is on the back burner to do concentrates. Um, all else fails kind of thing. I'd like to avoid that right now,
Of course.
but but you know, people that are gonna mix are gonna mix. You know what I'm saying? Um, you're to me you're one of the few that do both DIY and they vape or buy somebody's juice.
Yeah.
But most people like me, I don't really buy juice. I might every once in a while. I'll splurge. I'll spoil myself with something I like. Every once in a while. Um, but as far as you're either a mixer or you're going to a shop or online and you're buying. So if I can pull in a DIYer, that's another avenue for profit.
Yeah, my whole
It
thing
won't.
is that
I'm
I like to save the money too,
right,
but I like to support and find those ones that I love and support those.
right,
That's
right,
totally fine with me. I can make the bulk, and then I can vape the stuff that I really cherry pick as being the great stuff.
right,
And that to me is worth money. I mean, it's if you surely people agree that people's endeavors and their hard work and their livelihoods are worth money, right?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
if not, I would be working down at the factory.
yeah, I think a lot of people, especially a lot of people YouTube vaping, think that this is about getting a lot of free juice. And, from my experience in the last year, I see that it could have been that way if I wanted it to be, that I could have created
Right,
a channel like that and for that. And I realize now that instead I feel like I got more of a relationship with vendors and with the audience, and that, we sort of like pick and choose what we want to do. Anyway. Oh, and someone, Michaela, of course, has been saying she loves you this entire time, which she does.
I
And
know.
she's just plugging the mythical milk too. This stuff is really good. I actually just dripped the last drop on my mythical milk. I threw the bottle away yesterday. I was like, I need to clean some of these out. I was like, there's a little left.
Right.
Um, for some reason, it was better in the last drop. I don't know. Maybe it needed more strawberry.
Man, I don't know.
Everybody's saying hello, and okay, you can't. You're not watching the chat, are you? Or are you?
I'm trying not to because
Okay,
I'm trying to look in the camera,
that's
but
fine. Do you ship to Canada?
I will. I charge a little extra for it.
Okay.
Um,
Jay's
Instead
asking
of
about
three.
that.
Okay, yeah. Well, me and Jace talked a little bit about it. Um, I charge $10 per package. It normally runs me around 13, $14, but I'll eat that. Um, and so
And the
I will ship to
federales.
Canada. I haven't shipped to Mexico yet. I've shipped to England.
I
I've
was just
shipped to
joking about
Australia.
I was just joking about the Royal
Yeah.
Canadian Mounted Police. Like, do they grab it when they come in, or
Every I watch almost every package I ship out. I've got a timeline. I kind of have a good idea of how long it should take, um, because that's important to me is to for good customer service and for them to receive their package as fast as I can get it. So I'll watch, and most international ones went through real well.
somebody likes to organize things? That's you,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
You like being organized. I like that. That's
I
cool.
you know, like I'll be in bed, okay? This is how bad it is. I'll
Mhm.
be in bed. It'll be like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I've got these customers that will put in an order at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and my phone will go off, because it goes straight to my phone. Hey, you've got an order. And I'll get up out of the bed and I'll go take a shower and I'll get
Oh my
dressed
God,
and
you're crazy.
yeah, I'll go to the lab and I'll mix that order so I can put it in
Now,
the
you realize
mailbox.
that now that you said that, I'm going to only order at 2 a.m. every single
Uh,
time. I'm going to order like 11 Pacific
Look,
all the time.
I've got I've got at least 25 customers that you will not see their order come through until after midnight.
They're like,
You
yeah,
know,
I work
yeah,
night
it's
shift.
cool. You know, I mean,
I was going to say there's also settings, do not disturb, and you can put in like 11 to
but
3.
but it's important to me. My customers
Right.
are they're my livelihood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, if I want to take a nap, then I can, or if I want to spend time with my daughter, then I can. Um, Another reason I got into this is I'm a veteran, and we'll just say I spent quite a bit of time at the VA hospital for a while,
I'm
and
sorry.
my job. No, you're fine. And so, um, so I was missing a lot of work, and my
Hmm.
job was super cool with it, super understanding, you know, and but I was like, man, I can't leave them, you know, uh, without a person to fill my spot. And so I stepped down, and that was that was kind of when I started bumping this up, when I started the website, when I started doing this full time, um, was because I was able to, when I was having a bad day, I could take the day off, you know, and so I don't want to lose that. It's pretty awesome.
That is
Yeah,
awesome. That's another part of the American dream is that you can work on your flexible schedule
right,
for yourself, spend time with your family.
right.
We're
So
really
yeah,
obsessed with work in this country. It's, like my
oh yeah,
girlfriend's on vacation right now, and just getting her to take a week off and just getting her to let go in her mind. Like, I had to tell her, what do you do when other people are on vacation?
right,
You think, oh, I'll do anything to let them just ignore this. I'll let it go crazy. I'll let it be broken. I don't call people on vacation. That's what people do. They go, no, it's their time. Let her sit on the beach, and
right.
when
Now
you get back, it'll get fixed.
I haven't really taken any time off. You guys might see in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I might take a weekend off. I might post on something saying, "Hey, look, order now or wait until Monday," kind of thing. But I like to be able to go at my pace. You
Yeah,
know, at
good.
my own pace.
Yeah, that's killer. Everybody says that they love you and appreciate you. That's
Oh
just
yeah,
universal. Everybody, all the trolls
it's
in the audience, like
it's cool.
Michaela and April. Just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, hey, Christopher Wolf is here and he has a day off finally. Wow.
Sweet.
Wow, unbelievable. For you guys who were just tuning in, I am Juicy Jones. This is Orbital Vaping Headquarters, and that is James Davis of Liquid Sky E-Liquids, who's telling us his vapor story, and we're just chatting about stuff. And then someone says, haha, Owen, but I must say monkey bread. I think we know what that means. It means monkey bread, yum,
Mm.
right there. Yeah, that's good. Everybody's just saying hello? Yeah. So I completely can't. This is one reason why I'm so galled about the regulations the FDA is sending down is because of what a great opportunity this whole industry is to combine helping people and small business. There really
Right.
is enough of a market inside of the smokers to help them quit for us to have a couple of generations of business out of this.
Oh yeah.
And we really could make a dent in smoking rates in this country,
Right.
but we have this head in the sand, paid for by the tobacco lobby attitude that is just so embarrassing. And it just makes me
Well, we
sad because lives are on the line.
yeah, lives, livelihoods,
Hmm.
families.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like this industry is half the size of makeup.
Right.
Makeup, half the size of makeup in America. Makeup is $8 billion a year. This is like 3.5, almost 4. Dude, that's a lot of people's livelihoods.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with any of it. All of it is focused on helping people quit smoking and stay off cigarettes. And then a lot of it is devoted towards lifestyle related to that. But what in the
Right.
universe doesn't have lifestyle related to it attached to it? That's what this is in the world.
Well, think about it. I mean, if it wasn't for vaping, me and you wouldn't be talking,
Hmm.
or
How
I
many
wouldn't
friends
have
have we
talked to,
made?
right. I wouldn't have talked to Michaela, or I've talked to Owen, I've talked to Philip, but
Yep.
Ryan, Ryan did a review for me not too long ago. Um, you know,
Ryan Berman, you guys go check that out if you're watching.
yeah, little plug. Um, but we've made so many friendships and, lasting friendships. And we need to be able to build more,
Yeah, this community
and
is amazing. It really is.
right, right.
There's a certain number of people in it certainly that are like kind of negative and surly or whatever, but I don't think that that's any different than any community. But I will say that vaping is, the people who are nice in vaping are nicer. Like there really is a sense of community and how we all love
Right.
each other, and it's
I
just
mean,
really nice to come together over quitting smoking.
do you know how many free bottles of juice I've sent out? I mean, there's farming,
A lot.
there's juice farming, and then there's people that seriously need the help, you know. And if you seriously need the help, I'm gonna do it, And that's good community, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like helping your neighbor mow the lawn if he's broke his ankle or something, That's just what you do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and these aren't, yeah, we don't make money doing this. It's like we're just trying to get the message out.
Right.
This I mean, on the YouTube end of it, it's like, people think all the time that there's stuff going on. People who are reviewing cell phones, yeah, they're getting paid big.
Right.
And some people in this industry are getting paid, and that's great or whatever, but that's not what we're doing. We're trying to get people not to smoke cigarettes, and we're trying to change the government so that it sees reason. I'm so glad that we have such a firm basis. A lot of the argument against the government's FDA regulations are simple overreach, and they're breaking Administrative Procedures Acts. Like they
Right.
simply didn't do the due diligence that's required in the law for executing this kind of authority. They're required to answer certain questions and to do certain research. They simply didn't do it. And they had evidence to the contrary of what they ruled, it's enshrined in law that they're required to do things a certain way, and they didn't do that. And on free speech, that they say quite clearly that no free samples is a violation of free speech. And I think that's probably true. No samples. What is fire and ice? Someone wanted.
Fire and ice it's a cinnamon with like a menthol.
Oh, okay.
Um, I've avoided cinnamon, like, but I'll give it a shot. Why not?
I definitely would be most dubious about something that combined two of the most noxious ingredients we have. I mean,
Yeah.
I would think that, like I got some menthols from England recently from Zap Juice, and they're so far the hell out of my flavor box that I'm trying to really keep an open mind and give them a shot. But I mean, they're the kind of things where you open them up and it just the smell hits you, and they smell exactly like what they're labeled like. But two of them are menthol. And I'm not used to menthol vapes, and I think a lot of the UK crowd like menthol. I've just spoken to a lot of people in the UK that like menthol, which is maybe it's a thing. And
Right.
and so I'm giving it a shot. And the thing is, they're coil killers. You can't ever change the vape. You have to wash them out and boil them and all. Anyway, so having said all that, the vapes are actually pretty good once you get used to it. I tell you what, I vape a lot less.
Right.
And that's an interesting thing. Even with my big vape, I'm like, okay, I'm satisfied. Like that is plenty of vape, one of them is a Bubblicious, great Bubblicious, and it's a menthol.
Oh yeah.
And I should hate it, but I don't. It's like, on paper it sounds crazy.
Well, I don't mind menthol. I was a menthol smoker, so
Maybe that's why
there's
me too.
there's a point. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little menthol or a little culotta, which is what menthol is, goes a long ways. So you're talking like 1 to 2 drops per 30 ml bottle, and you can overdo it super fast,
Right.
But if it's done right, if it's there to, like, I like to do an ice cream, and I don't have one on my website right now, but I've done them before. I'll do an ice cream, and I'll throw just a touch of culotta in there just to give it that cooling effect, and that's what I like about doing things,
Yeah.
is just taking that one little tiny ingredient and turning it, making it do something that you really didn't expect to happen,
Yeah, that's really cool. You got me thinking. I have a question for you. Why do all blueberry vapes suck?
Dude, if I knew the answer to that question, I'd have a blueberry vape on my
Yeah, it's
on my
true
side.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You can take. There's ways to make it better. You can take. you can take a normal blueberry, TFAA, Capella, something like that, and put a little. I think it's Flavor Arts makes Bilberry. I think it is. Um,
Yeah.
that makes it a little more. Um,
That bilberry is one of those flavors that is fine until you put too much in, and then it's
right. It's
disgusting.
it's
I
it's
mean, to
a
my
it's a
palate.
it's a building block. You know what I'm saying? It's like you know
That
what
flavor
HP
sticks out
is,
like a sore thumb to me. Like if you line up a
right?
bunch of blueberry flavors, I can blind taste them and tell you which ones have bilberry. That's
Really?
one of those. For me, that's one of those flavors. I can't do that with
Right.
anything else except for maybe a couple of things. I mean, menthol, right? We could all do that, but
Right.
and I mean that specific flavor, I can tell just because of the way it has a thing. I can't describe it. It's like it has a tangy something thing in my nose that is a
Right.
specific thing that I only get out of that. But yeah, those done in moderation, that can work. There's a decent one from Sick Boy, but just no great ones. Lots of great raspberry and strawberries.
Oh yeah, I love working with strawberry, or not so much strawberry. I do strawberry for other people because strawberry's big, but for
Hmm.
me, I love the raspberry flake. Um, Defunk is like a raspberry candy kind of thing, um, and it was supposed to be like a blue raspberry cotton candy, and I messed it up, and I was like, man, this stuff is awesome, so I just left it.
That's good. Yeah, that's I've
Yeah.
done that. I've
Um,
done that where I'm like, I'm going to make a so and so, and then I'm like, that's way no, never mind. I'm
yeah.
leaving it exactly this. That's
Right. That's money right there.
yeah, it's
So
delicious.
so that's but it's more on the raspberry side. You know, um, I love working with raspberry.
Raspberry is
There's
a clever flavor. You can disguise it as raspberry or strawberry or even blueberry a little bit, and
right.
all kind. Even I mean, even a little lemony. Like you can do a lot of stuff with raspberry.
Yeah, like this
Listen to
fluffer.
us.
Fluffer has strawberry in it, but
Mm.
you won't taste the strawberry.
Mm.
You know, you use little things to bring out other flavor notes. You
Yeah,
know,
this is what I've been trying to tell people, explain to people about the chemical nature of these flavors
right?
is based on the spectrophotography. It's like these are not table flavors.
No,
They're not
no.
food mixtures. What they are is an approximated chemistry of what your nose interprets the terpenes to believe a banana tastes like or believe.
Right.
So mixing e-liquids, the reason why you have to work at it and why he spends forever on them is that you can't just say put some banana in there. That's not
No.
how it is. That's not. You have to figure out what chemicals, which ones react chemically, so that in a month when it's through steeping, it tastes great,
Right.
the way you want it.
And that's the thing, I mean, it might take me 2 or 3 months to work on a recipe itself, and then I've got a month worth of steeping. I speed steep sometimes. Fluffer was speed steeped, and an ultrasonic just to give me an idea. But even that changes the flavor, like natural steeping versus speed steeping, and an ultrasonic, or some people use crock pots.
Mhm.
Um,
My
it's
personal
it's
opinion
totally
is that
different.
people who think that you can just use an ultrasonic and that speeds up steeping lack experience.
Right. No, it's not so much that, it's
Yeah, because
added
it doesn't.
heat. No. It adds heat to it. It breaks down, it blends the flavoring more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
More
when
than
you
what I
add
could.
heat, physically, what's going on inside there, right? Just for the viewer's edification, when we add heat to it, you're speeding up the movement of the molecules inside that liquid. They're moving anyway because they're at room temperature, and that's not 0 degrees Kelvin, right? So they're moving, and then when you heat them up, they move quicker, and when they move quicker, they react with each other more. And then when you physically shake it with the ultrasonic cleaner, then what you do is you create movement in the liquid to create eddies and movement so that they touch each other. And this doesn't replace the natural chemistry that some reactions don't occur instantly, I guess is what I'm getting at, and take
Right.
time to fully react. And
Right.
so you can speed this up to a certain extent, but you're really just cutting time off for testing or whatever.
Right.
And
That's all it is.
yeah.
I don't like. I know shops, and I know there's some websites that offer a speed steep option.
Mhm.
And I'm like, that's garbage. Um, Personally, in my opinion. Um,
I'm not a believer
Everything.
either.
Yeah. If you order a 120 from me, chances are it's fresh, like right there, fresh. If you order 30 mil, I like to have those steeped. I like to have them. They might have been sitting on the shelf for a week. Um, it just depends. You know, I'm small time. I mix in liter batches. You know, sometimes a little bit bigger. It just depends on what it is. If you order 6 mil, it's going to be fresh, or I try to make it fresh. Um,
By the way, I forgot to mention that you have a massive discount on your site if you use the code OVHQTV. I totally
oh
forgot to
yeah,
tell people to get 20% off on his site. Or is that what
right.
it
Well,
is? 10? 20? Can't remember.
it's probably 20. But right now I've got a. If you
But
use,
screw that, you have a freaking sale.
yeah, I have a sale right now.
Just forget that
It's
code.
it's what is it? LS30, I think, is 30% off right now.
Yeah.
I just dropped the 2 new flavors. Um, you know, so far it's going pretty good. I mean, I had to make a run to the post office this morning, so it's doing all right.
Donuts are the stuff. Michaela says donuts are the thing. Everyone's into donuts these days. It's
I
ever since
know.
last like January, donuts have hit the scene.
I know. Donuts are tricky because man, they taste like Play-Doh. You know, if not done right. You
I
know,
nailed it.
did you?
Yep, I nailed
Awesome.
it. And now I'm figuring I'll send you some. Well, you tell me.
Okay.
Maybe I suck, but I think I nailed it, and I'm trying to get the consistency right. I'm trying to like bump the. I got the flavor where I like it, and then it's too thin, so I'm changing the formulation so that I go to 20%, or
Right.
it's at 30 now. I'm going to 20%, and I'm trying to add one flavor to it. And so I'd love your
Okay.
input. It's
Yeah,
amazing,
I'll
I
try
think.
it. Did you use 2 different donuts, or did you use
I
just
used a
the
whole mess of
Capellas?
stuff.
Yeah, well,
It's a
I'm
whole bunch
saying
of
just
stuff.
for the donut itself. Did you use more than just the Capella's donut?
I don't know. I'll look.
Well, you ain't gotta look right now. I'm just saying that's where I hit the brick wall. Was I didn't enjoy it enough to keep on it. You know. Um,
What happened to me was I wasn't trying to make a donut.
right. Well,
And I was
that's
like,
awesome.
what?
Right.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I used off air. Oh, secrets. Because this one was my favorite.
If you
And
guys
what
see me
happened was
drop a donut here soon,
uh,
you know it's Juicy's.
I found I've also found a local company that makes their own PG extracts.
Okay.
And I bought it at the market. And it's cheap, and the
Right.
stuff is great.
Well,
um,
that's awesome. You
I
know, I mean,
know.
I use Capella's a lot. I use
I love Capella's
Flavor
flavors.
Art. I use Flavora. Um, now they're kind of expensive.
I haven't
Um,
tried Flavora or Flavra.
man,
How are
it's
they?
some of them's hit and miss.
Hmm.
Um, they're about I think they're like $5 to $6 per like 10 13 mil something like that.
Yeah.
And Monkey Bread has 3 of them in it.
Ooh,
And
that's good.
yeah, Monkey Bread.
So that turned out good.
Yeah, Monkey Bread is expensive for me to make.
Gotcha.
Um, but um,
Are those Italian? Where are those from?
those are American flavor.
Americans. Okay.
Flavor Art is the Italian one, I
That's
believe.
right.
Um, what else do I use? I try to avoid Flavor West flavors.
Hmm.
Um, to me, they're too house juicy. I think
I
they
agree.
work in some places. They work, but for like something with some depth,
They
they
taste
don't.
one-dimensional to me. Yeah,
Right,
they
right,
do. I get very maybe two-dimensional flavors out of them. And this is only a theory of mine. Maybe you can help me confirm this over time. But when I use them, I feel like my juice doesn't last. I feel like it doesn't. Like in 3 months, it's not as good as it was after the steep.
right.
Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. And I store it all in the dark. So anyway, I don't know.
I don't have juice last that long around me.
I shouldn't, right?
Right,
Unscientific. That's
right.
unscientific. That's fun. Oh yeah, I love talking ingredients. I'm interested totally in trying the Flavora. I really like the Capella's juice. I used to use Flavor West, of course, to start out with because that's just a good thing to start out with. And
Right,
switching to Capella, once you switch to Capella, once you use Capellas and you give yourself real time to steep, 3 or 4 weeks, then you start
right,
seeing amazing flavors come out of these
right.
things.
Well, I mean, you can blend pretty much every recipe I have has 2 to 3 different manufacturers at least in it, if not more. Um, so you've really got the only company that I found that doesn't really like to blend up as well with others is the Flavora. You know,
Hmm.
it takes a lot more trickery fine tuning to get them to blend with, say, TFA or Cabela's. Um, in
Ryan
aware is
Berman
good.
mentions the yellow cake flavor. That's a great flavor.
Yeah, yeah,
Yellow
that's
cake is a
true.
great flavor. I've used that in
Right.
like several flavors.
Flavor West has their awesome flavors. Yellow
Yeah,
cake
that's the
is one
one.
of them.
Yeah, it's true.
Um,
I
I like
forgot
their
to mention
toasted
that.
marshmallow. Hazelnut,
Oh, the
I
toasted
think.
marshmallow is cool. You're right.
Hazelnut, I think, is the best hazelnut out there, in
Oh,
my
do you think
opinion.
so?
I think so. I mean, I've got a handful of them. Um,
I was going to say something sarcastic and then hold up this right here. You can't see this, but
I
this
can't
is
see it.
one of the flavors that I found at my local tea shop that they make themselves, and it's hazelnut from their own.
Maybe you need to. Maybe I'll send you some money, and
Uh,
you can
it's
you can
probably
send
cheaper for
some.
me just to say it's only like $3. Like these are
Well,
so cheap, dude.
no, I'm
Um,
saying just something to just something for me to play with.
but I have this little idea in my head, like, wouldn't it be cool to have like a Seattle flavor made in Seattle by
Oh
Seattle?
yeah,
Like, because everyone
it
likes the
would.
Space Needle. It just looks cool, like
Right.
it's printing money putting a Space Needle on something.
Well, I like small businesses because think of what's the microbreweries, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it'd be similar to that, you know, and
Microbreweries,
that's
another thing innovated and begun by Seattleites.
right, right.
Red Hook and Sam Adams were the two things that put beer back on the map in America.
So that's kind of, that you could give it that vibe, you know.
Right now, the hip thing up here is you wouldn't believe how hip Seattle is. One thing, people get lost in this idea of hipsterism or whatever, but that doesn't exist. I mean, what it is people in Seattle like to be different and express themselves and do different stuff. And if they see a whole
Right,
bunch of like ice cream places, they're going to go make a cupcake place. If they see a bunch of
right,
cupcake places, they're going to go make the next thing or whatever. And the new thing now, in the last 20 years since I've been here, bubble tea is invaded. I never knew about bubble tea until I moved to Seattle in the 90s. And bubble tea is getting further and further into the city everywhere you go. And now this new place is opening up that has bubble tea, but they're so simple and great. It works so great. It's a tiny place. They only serve bubble tea and like homemade chicken nuggets. They just chop up chicken breasts into little
right,
squares and they deep fry them in their own batter. You can have spicy or not, and they got five. It's homemade McDonald's chicken nuggets, and
right.
you eat them with a stick, and they give them to you in a little paper thing, and you go out with your bubble tea and your thing. It's the freaking greatest. So this isn't new in America by any means, but this chain is, and they just opened up like 3 locations, and like there's just so much stuff going on here. Like there's people are every 30th person in Seattle has one of those little scooter things, and I've seen every kind. I've seen the kind with the big wheel, the 2 wheels, the middle wheel. I mean, you don't just see one; you see them all. And
Right.
Tesla charging stations. Like Seattle is like such an amazing place for
That's
every new
cool. That's
thing.
I spent 5 years in Germany, and Germany reminds
Ooh,
me of something like that, or
yeah.
Europe in a whole. Their culture was just amazing. I mean, it was okay to be out there. Where I come from, I live in southeast Missouri. We're a bunch of redneck hicks. I live in the
Haha.
foothills of the Ozarks. You know, and
Which is
to be
beautiful
different.
freaking
Oh
country, as
yeah,
we know. Yeah.
to be here, to be different is not necessarily acceptable. I have a different view because I've been all over the world, but I enjoy to go into places like Seattle or say LA or um, any big city, and you can be different. You can be who you are. You know, and
Yeah,
so
it's
I think
cool.
that's awesome.
It is. It's cool. It's really, we have a lot of like innovative, weird stuff going on, and nobody, here you can go into a 5-star restaurant, in a pair of like plaid shorts and a hoodie. It's
Right?
it's
It's no
in
big deal.
Seattle. There's billionaires who dress like that, and
Right.
so that's just how it is. And so that's nice. The city is pretentious, like any big city, but you don't have to dress that way. So
Well,
it's
it's kind of
cool.
like have you ever looked into like the tiny home movement?
Oh my
You know?
God, yeah, my girlfriend loves
Yeah.
that stuff. She's
Oh,
like,
dude.
you're into that too?
Oh, yeah, that's my dream. Like
Oh, cool.
for a long time, I had measurements out in my house. I live in a small house,
Uh huh.
um, and I had measurements. I had blue masking tape, like on the wall with measurements and on the floor, because I got hardwood floor, and I measured it all out, and I know a lot of Washington and
Oregon,
West Coast, right? They're really
Portland,
big
they're
into that.
huge. Yeah, it's a
And,
big thing up here because there's lots of like woodsy people building houses on
right.
islands anyway, you
Oh,
know?
that'd be awesome. I'd have one for my home, a loft for me, a loft for Skylar, and then I'd have one for my lab, and just drag them around wherever
Dude,
I.
this is our dream too. We want to build an old school, like 19th century layout, like communal complex,
Right.
big barn right
Oh,
by the main entrance, huge fire pit cooking main kitchen, houses way out, but everyone has their own kitchen and latrines. You know what I'm saying? Like a big
right,
thing with
right,
micro housing, and like I need a studio with all this other electronic junk, and we watch a lot of TV and stuff. Like we want to create that, and then have like the in-laws have their own area where they can have their garden or whatever, and then in the middle we all come play guitar, and it's like basically you have to build one in the middle just for cooking and eating. And if you wanted to come have dinner, whatever, one you go do that. If not, you just eat in your house or whatever. But wouldn't that be
right.
awesome?
Yeah. Have you ever watched? You ever watched Vapors TV? Have you ever been on there? I don't know
No, I
if
mean
I
when
asked
the
you that
website
before.
was on, I saw a couple of shows on there.
Right. There's this lady on there called Three Dog,
Hmm.
and man, she's so awesome. She's down to earth. Um, just an awesome person in general, right? So, I got on VC with her, which is like Skype, right?
Yeah.
And it was just kind of a,
Hello, Sebastian. By the way, so sorry. One of the viewers wants me to say hello. Hello, great to see you. So sorry, he has to go.
but
I
so
apologize. Go on.
I ended up getting on a VC call with her with a bunch of other people, a bunch of other vapors,
Mhm.
and it turns out she lives in a tiny house. Like her
Cool.
camera makes it look like she lives in a great big house, but we got to talking about it, and
That's so cool.
she's doing exactly what you described. I mean, they've
Mm.
got multiple tiny houses, and then they have their like community center kind of thing,
Yeah.
and then their gardening area, and they have one for a living space, and then they have one for a sleeping space, and family and friends are living there, and yeah, it's funny. Maybe it's a vapor thing. Maybe we're
I
just
don't
all
know. My
we
girlfriend
all
actually
want
doesn't vape. She just likes tiny housing.
maybe we just all want to live simple
Yeah.
lives and be happy. Leave us alone. Just let's do our thing.
Well, it's true.
Mm.
We all come from an era where, at least I did, where I grew up. I was born in the early '70s when the American dream still existed. My father owned a home, and then around the middle of that decade, something happened: divorces, homes gone, credit nightmare. The
Right,
attack on the middle class happened in there, and so really, we just want to like have great internet and then be able to do our own thing. Garden.
right.
You know,
That's good with me.
yeah. She's Armenian, and we're thinking about retiring in Armenia, but we need
Okay.
Turkey and ISIL and Russia to calm down
Right.
because Armenia is between Iran, Turkey, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. So,
I've been to most of those places.
have you really? Have you been to Armenia?
Yeah. No, I haven't been there.
Oh, because Armenia is an amazing place. The Russians left it alone.
Right.
They tore apart all the other churches all over Russia, but like that place, it has the oldest cathedral in the world, the first cathedral in the world, the one that what's his name himself, freaking Christian, the blocks on. It was the first Christian country before Rome, before any country, and it's just we can't wait to go. She's Armenian, and there's like 5 to 7 million Armenians living outside Armenia, and then a few million living in Armenia. But politically, it's
Right.
not so great right now. But
Yeah. Well, that's the hard part is
yeah,
um, just politics and
yeah. World's largest freshwater lake. No, world's largest alpine lake in
right. Yeah.
Armenia, right there.
I think I've read something about that.
It's amazing. It's gigantic. I had this dream of like, what if we bought like some of those Air Force things, those hurricane offices, like put two or three of those up on a piece of
Oh yeah.
land,
You're talking about a man. What do they call them?
those dome-shaped structures, they're very
Yes.
famous.
Yeah. Now
They
I can't
basically
remember.
can't be blown over,
Right.
and they're cheap.
I'm a brain fart on it. I
Yeah,
know what
but
you're talking about because
I,
a lot of tiny home people they start out with
they
something
start
like
with those.
that.
Yeah, see, I think that's like the way to go because they're so economical for energy,
Right. Right.
and there's inexpensive designs and easy to make. You just make arches and
Right.
then skin them.
Right.
I'm just re-wicking my atomizer here.
I did that earlier. I I made a. Sometimes I'll do juice deals for hardware and stuff. You know, when people want juice but they really can't afford it. You know, be like, what kind of hardware you got? And I got a goon. You know, that's how I ended up getting my goon. And he put a.
Good
I
deal.
don't, it's pretty gnarly, but um, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But he
Yeah,
put some. Uh, what is it? They're fused,
they're
and then
huge.
yeah, fused Clapton, and then he's got like a preheat wire and
Yeah,
parallel,
parallel. Mm-hmm.
and man, it's awesome. It's stainless. I've been making a lot of coils with stainless here lately.
Oh,
I
have you
I
now?
love I love stainless. I won't
That's
go
cool.
back to Kanthal. You know,
Really.
yeah, you can get on eBay and man, I'm gonna have to move here real quick. Um, but you can get on eBay and get this KB wire.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a thousand feet of different sizes. You know, so 100 feet, 10 rolls, for like $25.
That's
You
an
know,
expensive as hell.
yeah, and it tastes awesome
Are you
compared to
running it on
Kanthal.
temp control or just running it on watts?
No, I'm just running on. I mean, I'm using it on my able. You
Uh-huh.
know,
I don't
I
have
have I have used it on temp control though, and it's good.
right on. I need to get a larger roll of stainless steel. I guess I haven't really latched on to stainless steel. I love how it tastes and it's great, it works great, but when I'm using it, I don't quite have an intuitive sense of the resistance like I do with Kanthal and
Yeah,
Nichrome.
it is it's a little tricky. Like I've got this app on my phone that I
Yeah.
always go to, and it's
Which one do you
off
use?
by. Oh, hold on, I'll tell you. I think it's
Are you an Android or iPhone?
Android.
Good, I
It's
just
called
switched to Android. You can tell me which app to pick.
Vapor Calc.
Paper
It's all
Calc.
one word.
All right.
Um, it's off by just a touch. I
Uh-oh.
mean, but not much. I mean, I'm talking like point oh one, something like that. Um,
That's not much worse than most mods.
no. So yeah, I've been loving it.
That's
I
good.
built
I'm so
this.
glad. Stainless steel is
si-
trickier because stainless steel is so much lower resistance than
Right,
Kanthal.
right. It's got a thing on there for 316L. You know, so
Sorry, I'm just doing some. If I seem quiet, it's because
okay.
I'm waking here.
You're all right. Here, hold on.
I'm
All
like,
right.
whoopsie.
So I'll answer a question that I
Good.
didn't answer earlier. Uh, Somebody was asking for a bacon juice, and while I think that would be awesome, I think as a company, I will avoid that. I might play with it, you know, but as far as producing it, I think I'd avoid that.
It sounds like a terrible idea to me.
Well, yeah, why not though? I mean,
Well,
I'm down for trying different things, but
right.
as far as selling it to the open market, I think I'd avoid it.
Well, and I guess my thinking is that it goes back to the nature of the flavors. Like, it isn't a table bacon. Like, you have to find chemicals.
Right,
Part of what you like about bacon is the heat and the fat. Humans love
right,
hot fat. And getting savory flavors like that to come across in vape without being absolutely disgusting is really hard. And
right.
in fact, impossible. Have you ever heard of good bacon vape?
No, I
No.
think it probably tastes like bacon bits.
I
You
would
know what I'm
guess
saying?
so.
Like,
Dry.
right. Um, I know that like Higgy Six. I don't know if you've ever tried any of their stuff.
Mm-mm.
Um, they're a small company like me. Well, they're bigger than I am for sure. But they've been around longer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sometimes they'll do some oddball stuff. Um, they've got a cool feature on their website, which it's too. I'm a one man show,
Mm-hmm.
so I wear very many hats, and so it's just too much for me to keep up with. But on their website, they'll allow you to kind of experiment. You make a request something similar to that, and it's kind of a neat feature.
And you can request bacon.
I think they had bacon. I think they had pizza too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not impossible. I welcome a good one. But
Right.
oh, there's Otis Dustin Brown. Good morning. Oh, by the way, I should do a time check to make sure that we haven't gone into 3 hours or something.
We just. It seems like we've been here for about 30 minutes.
It's been almost an hour. We're actually nearly out of time here.
Really.
Yeah, we'll probably go another 10 minutes. We're at 55 minutes, so we won't go right away, but I'm just re-wicking here and we're chatting. I should remind everybody this is Orbital Vaping headquarters, and I'm Juicy Jones, and that is Liquid Sky E-Liquid's James Davis, the owner. We've had vaping stories and anecdotes. We've learned every secret he has to mixing
No,
e-liquid.
no,
Just
but
kidding.
I don't mind sharing. I like to give people suggestions or take suggestions.
And you're
You
so
know,
generous and so nice, and I really appreciate you being here. This is such a nice
right,
thing to do, and it's been really interesting talking about the regulations too. You know, you guys see that. I'm
right.
sorry to talk over you, but you guys see how these regulations are going to hurt little people and big people. The big guys are have the same exact problems, even if they have a lot of money. They don't have $20 million, which is what it's going to cost even a big company or a little company to do 20 e-liquids, in one nick strength. So the big
Right.
guys are just as worried as James is.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And we're going to see a lot of people just simply exit the market.
Well, I've seen quite a few already. Um,
Yeah, me too. I have e-liquid here to review from companies that have gone out of business that I'm
you
not going to
know,
end up reviewing. It's weird.
I'm I'm not gonna lie, it's crossed my mind, but at the same time, okay, so the shops aren't gonna be able to mix house juice anymore, right? And I'm an affordable,
Well, they can if they co-pack, right?
right, yeah, they can,
Okay.
but some shops don't want to do that.
Right.
So, so I'm the next affordable step. I'm a little
Right.
more expensive than their house juice, but I'm not quite at the price point of the premium, you know. And so I've had a lot more shops contact me here recently. Um, I've got some paperwork I need to do, as far as certifications and stuff like that.
Hmm.
As far as child safety,
Right.
caps and different things like that. And I've got all the stuff here to just to get it in motion. It's no big deal. Uh, I've met those requirements before they even um, came up with anything
So
because of my
ironically,
daughter.
there's a
You know,
chance for you to still keep slightly expanding unless they screw the
right,
pooch come 2 years from
right,
now.
right, and that's why, like I said earlier, in the next week you're going to see a bunch of flavors drop, but don't pay attention to them because they're going to go out of stock, and that just gives me a little more room to grow, you know, and so um,
Hmm.
that's the plan. Is just keep on pushing, as long as I can pay the bills and feed me and my daughter, then you'll see me around. You know,
Yes. That's awesome. Well, what we should do is wet our wicks here and maybe vape out and say goodbye to the amazing audience. We could ask
right?
if people can tell us, shout out everybody, say hello. And then we're going to spend another few minutes vaping and then we're going to go. Don't forget, we got Vape AM on Tuesday and Thursday. We got Clouds, Coffee and Clouds Wednesday, Cloud the Fuck Out Thursday, and another Vaping Dawn to Dusk next week. Maybe I'll do a DIY show.
Oh, that'd
I
be
haven't
sweet.
done it in a long time.
You need to get me in on that.
Sure, you can come do one with me.
Yeah.
You can plan one.
You get you guys would be like I'm at my testing bench right now, and
Haha.
I've got like about 300 flavors right to the left of
Oh
me,
my god.
and I do all my testing right here, and then once I get something locked down, then I'll go to the lab and mix it in
Can,
big batches.
can we do
But
a show called The Myth of the Shaken Vape? And then show some things that are actually good shake vapes? There's a couple.
yeah, yeah, there's a couple of good shaken vapes, mostly fruity flavors, stuff without creams and custards and stuff like that.
I have an unusual favorite shaken vape that was a surprise, and it's just a regular marshmallow donut, like a
Right.
glazed donut. I was like, oh,
Really.
yeah, and it's better after a week and better after two.
Right.
But I expect it to be like like every strawberry thing and cream. You're like, oh, that first day you're like, that's garbage, and then 3 weeks
Yep.
later you're like, thank you, sweet 8 pound 7 ounce baby Jesus, for this delicious
Right.
vape. Why didn't I make more?
Right.
But yeah, like I don't believe very much in shake and vape, and I'm a firm believer in the 3 week, 3 to 4, 4 weeks is all you need. If 8 weeks is too much, you don't need 8 weeks. You just need four, unless you're mixing a vat.
Well, for me, you guys don't get to see it, but for me, I love Smack's Shake and Vape.
Oh yeah, neat.
Smack's Shake and Vape is awesome.
Well, I was gonna say that if this smacks that you sent me, if is like you said, new and needed to be steeped, I didn't notice.
Yeah, that's
It was good
if
when I got it.
if it was a 120, then it's fresh, and I'd prefer smacks fresh over, say, 3 or 4 weeks old.
That's interesting. Yeah. It's another thing we could talk about is steeping in general too, because it's a real mystery to
Right.
people. They really don't.
Right.
We had a little discussion about that during the show earlier, and it was interesting. But I talked about this. A lot of people like buy. I've seen this happen 5 or 6 times. Like people order 180 bucks worth of flavors and all the gear, and then in 2 weeks, the next week they're telling me that they're an expert and all this stuff is great and it's
Oh yeah.
perfect. And I'm like,
No,
well, you started with some copied recipes and you sort of understand, but if you had to be locked into a room and challenged to make something good with unlabeled flavors, you would be screwed.
well, here's the thing. Okay, I am a mixer, a manufacturer of sorts, right? Small time, but whatever. Um, and I can tell you from the bottom of my heart that Fluffer is better than than any previous recipe that I've made. So I'm still growing, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
You know, each one gets better. I still learn new things, and that's what I love about this, and that's why I don't want to be locked down to 8 flavors, or because I've got so much room. Even though I'm doing this, I know everybody loves what I do. I still think that I can still improve on what I do.
Yeah, the FDA wants to limit your creativity as a business person completely
Right.
arbitrarily, totally arbitrarily, just because they have a proven false notion, proven by science false notion that it somehow appeals to kids to have anything but tobacco flavor, like these tobacco flavors. Like that makes no sense. Kids wouldn't start smoking if they weren't if tobacco flavors weren't appealing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they aren't appealing. They're disgusting. We start smoking because of society pressures and stress and natural predispositions to addiction. Idiot. Idiot FDA. Oh, I went off again. I'm sorry. I apologize. I do that all the time. Hmm. I'm dripping, I swear. I'm actually dripping this stuff that I got from Swag Sauce this week. They sent me another batch, and it's really good, actually. It's called Blue Samurai.
I need to try spike sauce. They're pretty affordable.
They are the best affordable e-liquid, I think.
Whoa, whoa! You watch who you're talking to right now.
Well, I consider you on the premium end. I
No,
don't.
no,
Yours is not expensive,
listen,
but
no.
yours is not the like super budget stuff. And
What?
your stuff is not expensive either. It's like half the price of the stuff you buy in the store, but I don't consider it budget.
No, I used to only charge like $8, a 30 mil,
Oh, that's
and
not enough.
yeah, I had customers coming to me and they're like, look, you need to charge more because people aren't gonna want to, they're gonna see that $8 and think, well, this isn't no good.
Right.
And so I raised it to 10 and then I raised it to 12. And I don't know if you guys have been watching or not. And if you're DIYing, you need to pay attention. Um, I got an email earlier about uh, a VG supplier that I have that's raising their cost on VG.
Oh
And
boy.
so you're seeing these suppliers um, raise the cost on concentrates and stuff like that because you know businesses like me, I'm not gonna lie, I've got enough stocked here to vape for 7 years, you know.
Right.
but you're seeing businesses and people stock up, and so they're having to raise their prices to kind of equalize everything. So
Yeah, and you have to, if you use good ingredients and everything's great, you have to charge enough money to pay your rent and pay for your kids'
right.
college, and you know what I'm saying? You have to. That's what you have to do.
So love all my customers, but don't be surprised if I have to raise it just a touch. All right.
This is going to be universal across the board
Right.
because everybody is about to start incurring more costs related to everything
Right.
in vaping.
That'll be a last resort thing. I hate raising costs. You know, might
Yeah,
be less
maybe it won't
sales or
happen.
something like that, but
Maybe
um,
VG will go down in price again. Maybe they just didn't make
right,
enough this year.
right. You never know.
Maybe nicotine will go down in price. That'd be cool.
Right.
Probably not.
Oh yeah, probably not, but that would be pretty awesome.
Okay, so, oh yeah, then we're a little delayed from the broadcast here, but let's vape out. Let's say goodbye and thank you to all the fans. I love
Bye,
every
everybody.
one of you. You guys are the greatest. There's a huge list of people in the live chat: David, Brett, Bill, Polo, Ryan, Owen, everybody. Thank you, Michaela. This has been Vaping Dawn to Dust. That is Liquid Sky E-Liquid's James Davis, our friend of the show. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
It's been fun. I appreciate everything.
Me too. Thank you for coming on.